So probably the main thing that stuck out to me in the play was the evident PTSD that a lot of the characters experience. I especially saw in Pop and Elliot. One of the specific quotes that I brought out from the play about PTSD was when Elliot said, "Do you have nightmares too, every single night? Do you feel guilty too?" So from this, you can really see that Elliot's really struggling from his past experiences being in Iraq, and then carries over in Pop and Grandpop have similar experiences. So just seeing that PTSD was really interesting. So for my first value, I want to talk about a quote that Grandpop used. He said, it's about untying the knot. And in this case, the knot is being like your identity and like your belonging, your culture, your values. And Grandpop is pretty much saying like to be proud and spread your identity to all the people in the world. And the second value I want to speak to is the flowers that Ginny grows and how they represent like she calls it a contract with the future and fate that like something better will happen tomorrow, something better will happen in the future. So that's just another value I found in the play. So for something that you had to look up and like go into further detail on, I continually throughout the play looked up the cities that were mentioned. So for like an example would be Tikrit, what is from Iraq, is a city in Iraq. So I looked that up, got a little more knowledge on that city. And Incheon is on, or I think that's how you pronounce it. It's on the west coast of Korea. So I'll look up that city, get a little more knowledge. It just gets you a little more knowledge, a little more context on the stories that are being told throughout the play. So that helped me a lot. For question 4, I feel like when we think of like a typical American soldier, we think of them as a hero. We think of them as someone who should be very proud, but we don't necessarily think about psychological and the serious PTSD that can come from being in service. However, I think the play's depiction of the American soldier focuses on the psychological misery of the soldiers, and that allows the audience to see and challenge their previous typical thoughts of an American soldier. So for a fugue, I think that's how you pronounce it, if that's better. In this context, I think it's talking about this, or I know it's talking about after looking it up, that the specific way music is composed, in which the main melody of the theme is imitated by different instruments and multiple parts. It is one of the most complex forms of music composition, apparently. And in the play, we see Grandpop compare the fugue to the act of untying knots between the varying melodies, once again. Interestingly enough, fugue also relates to like having psychological and like past thoughts that kind of mess with your head, which connects with the PTSD a lot. So interesting little piece there. And then lastly, a few questions I have. Number 1, why do you think Grandpop only talks about music when talking about his past service? I don't know if it's because he's growing old, maybe chose to block it out. I don't know. Then my last question is, which character do you think deals with the most psychological problems because of his service and why? Thank you very much, and goodbye.